Well, I'm back for another story, or actually anything in the topic. I decided to do my next one on some of the experiences I had in. Where should I start? I was gonna start with high school, but let's go back. Hmm. Maybe I share a few instances in elementary school, high school. Uh, Man, I don't even know what to do. This is so interesting. This is this is quite. Hmm. Thought I had this all figured out. Ooh, I know what to talk about. So you know that there are a lot of kids that play Call of Duty, and now you know what? I'm gonna talk about my experiences and how I got into Call of Duty. Uh, so the very first time I played a Call of Duty game was I was at EB Games. I believe that's yeah EB Games. Back in 2003, 2004, where I used to live, they used to have a GameStop and they used to have an EB Games. There were two different game shops, and this was obviously before GameStop bought out EB Games. And I think I went over there for it wasn't to buy a game, but I think someone else was buying a game. I think my brother might have bought a game or something, and there was demos of games there, and there was one for the was it I don't know if it was for the Xbox or for the PS2. That one I don't know. Um, I'm pretty sure it was the Xbox. 'Cause I remember playing Halo, and they had Call of Duty on there. The first one, not Finest Hour. It was the first one, and I remember being quite shocked by it because it took use of both analog sticks, and at the time that was very unique because usually if you wanted to aim, it was with you had to click down um, the right analog stick. There was no sprinting obviously back in the day, but you have to click the right analog stick and it zooms in. And for first-person shooters, and it was a fixed camera. It was a fixed camera when you zoomed in. Um, but this game, no, you had to just press the button, and if you hold the button down, you continuously aim. And if you just press the button, then it's just like quick aiming. And then it felt nice at the time. Uh, no one's really seen this before, I think, for a first-person shooter, because first-person shooter games were limited to it was how do I say this? There was definitely a market for first-person shooters because it took a little bit of skill to get used to. Um, it was never, wait, what is the word? It was never um, easy to master. It always took a little bit of skill. Like you can pass some levels, but you won't be able to pass all of the levels because of how difficult they were. And now, at the time, everyone was just saying, "Wow, we have to get used to this control setup. It's gonna suck because you have to use both analog sticks. One's for moving the camera and not for clicking and aiming, and the other one is for moving around." Yeah, and as I tell you, for first-person shooters, that was very, very weird because we were used to fixed camera angles. I'm thinking of the Medal of Honor series, and then if we tap or click or whatever the right analog stick, it would change our point of view. But this one we had full control of our point of view, and everyone was saying, "Nope, this is not accessible." That's what I wanted to use. This is not accessible for every person or someone that wants to get into first-person shooters. And I remember thinking, I didn't think I had a really difficult time with it. I enjoyed the time with Call of Duty, the very first one. And I think, okay, if I want to translate that into high school, so as I said, I played that demo. I know I'm going a little forward now, but I remember it was junior high. I don't remember which one it was, but no, I think it was junior high, seventh grade. Somebody brought Call of Duty. No, no, someone got Call of Duty 2, I think. Um, or was it Call of Duty 3? I think it was Call of Duty 3. And some people went over to the house and they're like, "Oh my goodness, this game is amazing. It has so many features and stuff." Because I think the majority at the time, the majority of people only had uh, PS2s. They weren't really going into the new era of game. No, no, it was Call of Duty 2 because this was the beginning. So then was I in junior high? I might have been in junior high. I don't remember. And um, how do I say this? And then um, it was just to look at the new graphics, and everyone was just like, "Oh my goodness, these graphics are freaking amazing!" You and along with that, like the controls felt awesome because at the yeah, because there was an old gen Call of Duty 2 and there was a new generation Call of Duty 2. There's Call of Duty 2 and there's Call of Duty 2 Big Red 1. No, no, wait, that's Call of Duty 1. I forgot what Call of Duty 2 equivalent was on the PS2. I don't remember which one it was. I don't remember what the PS2 version was called, but the Xbox 360 version was, and the PC one was called just Call of Duty 2. And it had, it was supposed to promote the Xbox 360 and the power that it had. And everyone was just flabbergasted. They just couldn't comprehend that. And um, I remember, I think someone tried to steal it. Not steal it, but, you know, uh, play dumb and say, "Hey, yeah, I'm not taking the game." And then we're gonna take the game home from themselves and return it the next day, because that person also had a 360, but they ended up getting Dead Rising. I don't remember which game it was. Definitely Viva, Viva Pinata or something. I don't know if it was Dead Rising or if it was a Madden game. It might have been a Madden game. Viva Pinata in a Madden game. And he didn't really like first person shooters, but when we saw it, we were just. And the thing is, back in the day, they used to have if you look at the back of the box, it would actually show you the graphics. It doesn't like today where it says, "Oh, there's campaign co-op, there's zombies, there's multiplayer," and it shows like a little still image, and it doesn't give you any input. It doesn't know an input photo info on what's going on in the game. It's like, "Oh, this takes place during World War II, and you're gonna be playing as these types of soldiers on the front lines here, and here, and here, and here." And then they would have like a little bullet points like, "Oh, come into multiplayer and do," and then it would have like, "Oh, new features from only exclusive to the 360 version," and then uh, that was supposed to be their whole marketing for that game. And I think it sold fairly well. And a lot of people that day, or not day, but that school year ended up buying a lot of 360s or getting it for Christmas, and getting it with that game specifically. However, okay, this is the one thing that I will bring up. So I used to get angry, frustrated with video games. I mentioned it the last time in the last video. But the Call of Duty series seems to be the only series that persistently makes me frustrated. It makes me upset. It makes me like use so much profanity in it because I don't know what it is. Each because I think it might be an annual release, and I keep playing them. And I'm like, oh, I'm expecting this much degree better, and it never does. Um, Actually, back in the day, I shouldn't say that because they were obviously trying to do new things, but it still felt Call of Duty-ish, even by Modern Warfare standards. Maybe okay, maybe not Modern Warfare because I remember Call of Duty 3 didn't really have modern day kind of perks. It did have a little bit of perks, but it didn't have modern how perks are done today. Call of Duty 4 was the one that planted that foundation. And I think after Call of Duty 4 and World at War, because we played a lot of World at War, Call of Duty 4 and World at War, we, at least for my friends and I, we kind of segued off the franchise. I did not buy Modern Warfare 2 until 2013. 2000, I think it might have been 2012 or 2013. One of my friends got me to buy it. Um, and what was another one? Okay, I did buy Black Ops. I did buy all the Treyarch ones, but I think it was those games. Like when you first initially play it, you don't get angry at it. You go through your honeymoon period, as every gamer says. You go through your honeymoon period, and you're like, oh, this is the best Call of Duty yet. And then after that month or 2 weeks or however long is over, then you start to see the flaws. And then here's the thing, here's a trend back in the day. If you did not like the new game that came out after like a week or a few days, you went back to the previous game. And the previous game was, if it was Black Ops, it would be Modern Warfare 2 because everyone was complaining, Black Ops 1's not fast enough. Let's go back to Modern Warfare 2. It's fast enough. And then, um, or when Modern Warfare 2 came out, I don't think anyone really went back to World at War, but I remember there were a few people, quite a bit of people that went back to World at War the first week and a half. So maybe like the first 10 days or so, 11 days. A lot of people went back to World at War because they were having. Here's the one thing that Call of Duty has had since. This is very rare. This is very, very rare for any publisher or developer. Ever since Call of Duty 2, their launch window, their launch, but basically the server issues on the game at launch have been not very awful. Uh, uh, and I think, okay, and here's the thing I will say, even to this day, they do come out with pretty dang good servers on launch, except for this new one. It's a little wonky, but typically they do, and that's very, very rare, especially since the online implementation on consoles, because I'm going to be talking mostly consoles, has been new, is relatively new, and they keep, well, not consistently anymore, it's been spotty, but they've been the ones I think that don't half-ass the multiplayer when it comes to servers, because they know a lot of people are going to play the game. Um, what's the next thing I will bring up? I was on a roll. Oh yes, yes, yes. Going back. So a lot of people, I think when Modern Warfare 3 came out in 2011, everyone was bagging on the game. They're like, "Oh my gosh, the campaign's awful. The campaign's not as." They were like, "The best thing about the game is the campaign." And I remember, I think I got Modern Warfare 3 kind of when it was no. I think I got Modern Warfare 3 the same time I got Battlefield 3. So that might have been 2011. No, 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 not 2011. 2012 or 2013. One of the two. And I would play that with my friends, and I did not like it. Even to this day, I have really bad experience with it. But I think it's because when I'm playing with my friends, I see all the bad things that they do to win. And here's the thing, like initially we would win, like by kicking butt and stuff. And in this game, no, 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 no. It's definitely not like Modern Warfare 2 where you can, where the game is decided by one person, like the nukes and stuff like that, because they transplanted that. And if you get a nuke, it only affects the whole team, but for like maybe like 30, I don't know how long, is it 5 seconds or something? The spawn time is 5 seconds, so it does not end the game. That was very, very smart. And I think a lot of people, when they were looking back at Modern Warfare 3, they did not see it as an awful game. And you know what? It's not an awful game, but it's definitely not one of my favorite games. And I think it's because I've been on both receiving ends. I've been on the good receiving end where, I'm winning a couple of games. In fact, the very first time I played the game with my friends, I had 115 game win streak. My very first 115 games in that game, wins. And then I think after that I started like dip down, because I was playing. They kept putting me on bad teams and stuff, and I couldn't get out of it. And uh, okay, so if I'm gonna segue now back into Black Ops. So as I said, okay, Modern Warfare 3 came out 2011, and Black Ops came out 2010. And now with Black Ops, here's the thing that um, I think it's with pretty much every Treyarch game. They try to do something new, not for the FPS genre, but for the series. Now here's the thing that I think that a lot of people keep bagging on Call of Duty for. They said that the FPS, FPSs, they need to have more um, uh, spunk to them. And while I do agree with them, um, just having a good story and just having multiplayer that's like this is not going to really, it's going to make the game better, sure, but it does not do anything to further the advancement of first-person shooters like Call of Duty. The first one did back in the day with the analog controls, or the camera and the movement controls as the same button. It was it was revolutionary at the time, and then they came out with, okay, maybe this is not for the FPS genre, but maybe for the competitive side. They came out with perks, they came out with attachments, they came out with earning stuff, and they kept basically progression. You level up your character, you get new weapons, you fight with those weapons, you get more attachments and stuff like that. They kept adding things and adding things and adding things, and nowadays it's just kind of very stagnant. So I do understand that. But here's the thing: if this series also wants to be relevant, it also needs to do something. I think uh, not add a new story, but basically be something new for the genre, because um, we did this with platformers, we did this with puzzle games, at least here in America, because I'm pretty sure they might be still popular everywhere, somewhere else. With platformers, so back in the day with platformers like Mario, it was very simple. It was like, oh, you just go for it's a 2D plane. You're just going from left to right, and you have to solve the puzzles. And then when it came to the 3D realm, like, you know, you had to find collectibles, you had to find uh, uh, secrets in the game to get more collectibles, to get secret levels, stuff like that. And, you know, I think there was only so much you can do with it, and eventually, I think there's Ratchet and Clank or Jak and Daxter, both. They made it so that it was more of an actiony platform kind of game, as opposed to just being a solid kind of platform like Crash Bandicoot and Mario games were. And as I said, like, at least here in America, platformers aren't really getting the light of day. We're still stuck with the kind of classic stuff. Obviously, the new Mario game is a little more actiony, where you can take control of different vehicles and stuff. Well, not vehicles, but monsters and basically the living species in the Mushroom Kingdom, or not the Mushroom Kingdom, but in the Galaxy Odyssey. Oh my goodness, how do I say that? Different worlds. The different worlds, you can take care of the different creatures in the different worlds. So I mean, they're trying to add something new, you know, something that doesn't really happen in platformers. And then puzzle games, they used to just be like Tetris. They used to be like, you know, like those old school, basically put things together, go to the next level. And then they came out with Puzzle Fighter. They came out with, you know, adding puzzles into video games, but obviously not making a puzzle game. However, they still they still come out with puzzle games, but they also become strategy games. So the puzzle games and strategy games sometimes get mixed together, and it makes sense because um, when you're trying to solve a puzzle, it takes some sort of strategy to solve the puzzle. However, I mean, there were games that, like, you know, Fire Emblem, where they added RPG elements on a grid, um, uh, and as well as it kind of is like a puzzle, but it's not, because sometimes it just takes you just buffing up your guys to beat through it. It doesn't really take much puzzle. It's not really much of a puzzle, but it's much more strategy. but you know, it's very difficult. And so now that's why there are puzzles in games because there's not really much for the genre. For first-person shooters, I feel like it's still going to be relevant. Um, but if people want to, you know, a fresh take on it, or they want to do something else with it, then yeah, I suggest that they do something else with it. And the series to do it, I think, would probably be Call of Duty because of the innovations they've done for the genre in the past. And to this day, I think my favorite Call of Duty is Black Ops 1. I don't want to do a top 5, but my favorite is Black Ops 1. It's mainly because I would play a lot with my friends and I play a lot with my family. And it would be very consistent, it would be very constant as opposed to the older ones and the newer ones. We did play a lot of Black Ops 2 together, but especially with my friends, but Black Ops 1 was the one we played the most. We played that night or day and night, night and day. I don't know how you want to say that. Potato, potato. Well, not really potato, potato. It's be potato, potato, tomato, tomato. So, however you want to put that, we would do that all the time. And I think if I want to end this with something very interesting, my experiences with Call of Duty. Okay, I'll go back to the school. So in high school, Call of Duty was extremely popular. Like everyone, even I think there were a few girls that even got into. Nah, I wouldn't say video games, but Call of Duty, or yeah, because like they wouldn't have a console themselves, but if a friend has a console, or if like a guy has a console, they'll go to that guy's house. Oh yeah, you know they have Call of Duty. I'll play some Call of Duty. It was that accessible at that point, and a lot of people were getting more and more and more into it. And then I think Battlefield 3 came out. No, no, Bad Company 2. So Bad Company 2 came out 2009, the same year as Modern Warfare 2, and people were doing these debates, even in my school. Which one's better? Is it Modern Warfare 2 or is it Bad Company 2? And I think to this day, Bad Company 2 is a better game. But I didn't play Bad Company 2 until 2015. There's still people that played online on the PS3. So um, I did I do like the Call of Duty series um, up to a point because as I say, like I still get angry and frustrated, and I guess that's part of the reason that the appeal these days. It's just more and more accessible, and so you can play with more and more different types of people. However, it is getting stale, and it's especially with this new one. Like I just can't get into it as much as I want to. Like for every one good thing I see, there's three bad things, so it's not a really good ratio. Um, would I say that I'm disappointed in the new game? No, because I did not have any hopes for any Call of Duties. The only ones I really get are the Treyarch ones. Those are the only ones I really invest, time into. Um, but I think it's because Treyarch has been consistent when it comes to trying to do something different for the series. Like, I don't want to get into specifics, but ultimately, that is my history with Call of Duty. I mean, there are plenty of stories I can tell in this. Plenty of funny ones too. Like one of my favorite. Okay, you know what? I might as well tell you this one. So I think I was playing on the 360. No, no, I was playing on the 360. And I think this was around the time that my month the subscription was gonna come up, so I was playing like all day. Um, and I remember playing on Firing Range, and there was this clan that was on there, and I think I had a team, and we were playing Ground War, but it was Ground War Domination, not Ground War Team Deathmatch. And our team, uh, I think when I came in, we were losing 53 to 60 something, I don't remember. And I'm like, wow, this is actually pretty dang good because the whole team was a clan and they were getting chopper gunner and dogs and everything. When I came in, they had dogs, and I was about to leave, and I was like, no, let me try this. Let me see, whatever. And I put on the mic, and I think there was Oh, okay, you know, I might as well say this is one of my greatest experiences with the Call of Duty community. Because usually, as I say, like I used to play with my siblings and not my siblings, but my with my friends and family. I want to be very specific now, because it was mainly just my older brother that would play with me. So I wouldn't say siblings, but friends and family. Um, and I put on my mic, and then some other people were starting to put on the mic, and we're like, "Hey, dude, let's do some magic here." And then he's like, "Okay, yeah, let's do it." So we ended up winning that game, 200 to like 180 something. And the other team came at us, and they're like, "Oh my gosh, look at you guys, you're a bunch of tryhards and stuff like that." And it's like, dude, you're the guy. Oh, there was actually three guys on their team that had over 50 kills, and I think one of the guys had like almost 10,000 score. And it's like, dude, you guys could have won this game if you asserted yourself, but you guys decided to be, you know, like get into killing more. Like that's gonna make you win this game. It's like no, and another thing too is like, okay, there's one thing to have a clan with like three or four or even five, and they're killing, they're slayers, and it only takes one guy to capture the flag, as you know those slayers protect the flag carrier. But no, they were all slayers pretty much. Like the only time they would really cap flags is if like we're all dead and we're on the other side of the map, and then they capture the flag and then they go back to their positions. Um, but I think at the very end of the game, they started to actually put up some kind of an effort because I think I remember the next time the score was 115 to like 98, and we were in the lead, and then like it kept teeter tottering, and at the very end of the game, like I remember being so like convinced that the community in Call of Duty is not all bad. Because I played Modern Warfare 2 past that point. People are new tubing you, one man army and stuff like that. And then you go to World at War and people are in the tanks, and people are using like the Gewehr, and staying in that same head glitching corner. And then in Call of Duty 4, like um, you see people doing like some of the rattiest things in the world, and you're exposed to it more than you're exposed to the good side. And the good side basically is no one's on the mic, no one's speaking, and you win the game. But no, this was actually one of the very few experiences where I went on the mic. I was the first one on my team to go on the mic and talk to my team, and they talked to me back, and we settled this game. Um, it was a very, very fun experience. And I remember a quote that somebody said. He's like, "Oh, he's like, dude, if this game is more about um, teamwork than it is about basically a one-man army, because of the movement system, the types of guns that are in the game, as well as the maps. They were invented for the sole purpose of teams. Like there's different ways for your team to go to set point on the map. There's different weapons that your team can use, to back each other up. Like one person has a sniper rifle to defend in the back, or to snipe people in the back, and then you have like two, assault rifle people, a submachine gun person, and an LMG person. There's different types of options you can do with the team. It was a game that basically promoted that, as opposed to going for glory, not glory kills, but basically go out in a blaze of glory. Like using noob tubes and using the strongest weapons in the game, like Scar that kills in like 2 or 3 shots, or 3 shots back in Modern Warfare, and then quick scoping. Like yeah, you can still quick scope in Black Ops, but excuse me, but it all really does come down to teamwork at the end of the day, and that was the one that I liked the most, Call of Duty, because I think after a while, because I play a lot of game modes, like my KD was like point 0.6 something, and then I started to play a lot of Team Deathmatch, and eventually I got my KD over 1. But I had such a good win-loss, and then I think when I translated that into, I think I played it on, yeah, I did play it on PS3. When I translated it on PS3, it was kind of the same thing. I had a very, very bad kill death ratio, but I had a really good win loss. Or I'm sorry, my KD did not reflect my Slayer skills because I was not really much of a Slayer than I was more of a team, objective player. Um, and my closing statements for basically my experiences with the Call of Duty series is that when it first came out, it was a breath of fresh air, sort of a breath of fresh air. It was new, so it was unique, and it did something different, and it was a little interesting in the beginning, but it eventually became something worth playing and something that a lot of people bought. Um, to something that starts to disappoint people, um, um, as well as anger some people. And seeing a franchise, as I explained from the beginning, like how like it added something unique or different to the control layout, as opposed to something that now just I would I don't want to like create or say anything, but the loot boxes and stuff like that, that stuff always is a big no-no to me. It's a huge no-no to me. It's like you don't know what you're doing. That this series has come such a far way, and now that I view this series, like if someone were to create a meme of like, remember Call of Duty when it used to be this, and then now it's just your loot crates just come down and you open them. I I I wouldn't, I would kind of laugh. I'd be, yeah, that's basically how it is now. It's just, it's eating itself alive. And, it's still a popular series. Like, so millions of people still buy the game. And the reason I think I'm telling this story is basically to say I don't like Call of Duty as much as I used to. And I felt like I should get this out. And, um, and I also wanted to share a small insight into how popular it was when it first came out. Like I said, the very first Call of Duty came out. Not a lot of my friends bought it. Not a lot of people in my school even bought it because the elementary school and junior high, the junior high that I went to, not a lot of people gave a shit about Call of Duty. And it was not until Call of Duty 2 came out on the 360, it was one of the launch games, and it just took that one or two people to buy it and they say, oh wow, this is freaking fantastic. There were obviously some people that played it, but it wasn't popular. Not everyone had it. Not everyone wanted it because they were just buying other games. And I totally agree with that because I remember buying was Star Wars Battlefront 2. You're not buying it, but getting it for Christmas. 1 and 2, the original. Obviously, Spider-Man 2. I bought that one. Um, there were quite a few games that I did like more than the Call of Duty series at that time, and then eventually I started to like first-person shooters more. Now, you know what? I think I have a topic for next time. How I got into different genres and basically how I changed from the next time. Oh, that's really good. I have to keep that in mind. And then eventually in high school, it blew up. And now like in college, and I'm pretty much done. Not a lot of people play it. And if anything, if they play it, they don't play it that often, or they don't play it for the multiplayer, or they don't play it for uh, what it's known for now. Because when it first came out, it was known for its single player, it was known for its controls, and it was known for its accessibility. And now it's just known for the multiplayer. It's known for the zombies. It's those different modes are more popular, so it started to lose its identity. And there's nothing wrong with change. Like if you want to change a franchise, like Jak 2 is a perfect example. Like you have Jak 1, and then Jak 2 instantly changes the formula of the game, the mood, everything about the game. So my thoughts on it is that I don't think it's going to have a bright future, but there is still hope, and it's very, very small at this point. But I think it depends on how players in this game react to certain things because uh, those companies, they work on the game every 3 years. Like they have 3 years to make a game. So like Treyarch will come out with a game. So like let's say okay, let's use Advanced Warfare. So Advanced Warfare was a Sledgehammer game, and then 2015 was a um, Treyarch game, and then 2016 was an Infinity Ward game. And then obviously after that, the third year, it's Sledgehammer again. So Sledgehammer had from the end of Advanced Warfare, well, sort of, it's like 3 years to make the game. Um, and I feel like that's a lot of time. They can do a lot. They can do quite a bit with it, but they decide not to, and that disappoints me. It's not the games that disappoint me; it's the publisher that disappoints me, because the publisher is the one that's saying, "What are you going to do? What are you going to put in this game that's going to make us a lot of money?" It's a business, noted. But back in the day, you used to, okay, even in the Tony Hawk era of games, like every game seemed samey. It seemed like the same. You were only adding one or two new features or one or two new characters. But the difference between that and this franchise is that this franchise is still relevant and it's been doing the same things longer. And uh, the fatigue has still, there is a little bit of fatigue, but it hasn't fully set in. Like, if I were to give it an example, like Tony Hawk, I don't remember what it was, Proving Ground or whatever. I forgot what the one before that, Project 8. Because like Project 8, they put it on the PSP, and they were like, oh, let's try and see how Tony Hawk does on the go. So they implemented more time, like on the PSP version, than they did the PS2 version, and the PS2 version was just like, meh, it's the same thing. But the PS3 version was like kind of cool because you can play with your friends, like using an adapter. You can play online. Uh, on PS2, you can play online, but it was not as functional as the PSP version. So it was amazing. And then you have Proving Ground that did nothing different at all. And people took notice. And I think it was because the genre, the different genres, they're changing at that time. Like sports games, I would consider skateboarding as a sport. They were becoming not as relevant for like a few years. The only people that would buy those sports games are hardcore sports fans. Even to this day, yeah, even to this day. But even so, more new people play those NBA, and Madden and FIFA games. Nothing against that, but the Call of Duty series, it's been doing the same formula pretty much ever since Modern Warfare. You have perks, you have attachments to, and the attachments are unlocked by completing challenges. Um, or leveling up your gun now. Um, and you can even purchase new weapons with either real money or in-game currency. Like the different things that they're adding is basically more ways for you to get money out of, more ways for them to get money out of you. And I don't feel that's a justifiable strategy because when Modern Warfare 1 came out, Modern Warfare 2 came out, those games costed a lot of money. And they think that in order for them to raise the stakes, in order for them to build such a great, grandiose game, they need to even invest more money, even more. They need to have a famous character, famous actor, famous TV actress, or whatever, or movie actress or something, or whatever, to sell the game. That used to be the deal back in the day because it was a big deal. It was like, oh my gosh, actors and actresses are playing in their game. But now that gaming is now like pretty much the number one hobby in the world, just make something that's compelling again, I guess. Anyways, I've been ranting, not ranting, but pretty much been doing both. Not ranting really, but maybe right there a little bit. But I was pretty much just raving the franchise for what I had with it, my experiences with it, the good and the bad, sort of the ugly. I don't really want to get in the ugly because the ugly is just basically the lag, the connection issues, basically a lot of the multiplayer stuff that's out of our hands, really, like because we didn't have really good internet. My family didn't really have good internet, so that was an issue. Having really bad teammates, that's not an issue for the development team. And then like I guess like we'd always blame our teammates, but we'd also blame, oh, this map is ugly, this map is crappy, this game is really bad. I don't think that's the case. And with that, I'm gonna end it. Let me know your experiences with the Call of Duty series because ultimately at this point I don't care anymore. If I get a new Call of Duty game, I'm probably not going to play it because I don't want to support a company that decided to take the easy way out when it comes to um, their old business model. And by their old business model, because now the multiplayer and the zombies is much more popular, is I don't want there to be some sort of progression. Not progression, because obviously getting new guns is not a progression, but I don't want the guns to be tied to real life money. It just seems kind of weird. All you have to do is just buy a bunch of crates, and there's the bigger chance for you to get uh, the weapon. Because like in Black Ops 3, like it costs like 30 crypto keys to buy one rare supply drop, and that's the rare supply drop. Gives you it's a better chance for you to get rare, legendary, and epic items as opposed to common, which costs 10. And then they came out with daily doubles, and then the 6 pack or something like that, which is like 6 commons, or you can get 2 rare supply drops for the same price, 45 crypto keys. And then eventually, every now and then, they come out with a triple play or something like that, where you get like one ranged weapon, one melee weapon, and rare supply drops. I'm not a fan of because you can buy it. Because here's the thing, like for instance, the one I have, the Grand Slam, you can just buy that shit. It costs money. Like you can basically skip it. And then they came out with a triple play, 2,500 COD points or 100 games, 100 games that you can win. Which one are some people going to take? Buy this shit. It's like there's no reason for people to play the game anymore, or they're not giving really people a reason to play the game anymore, and earn it the way that they want to earn it. But I understand that they need to make money, but this is a very, very flawed reason for doing that. And that is, I think, my big deciding factor as to why I don't want to invest my money into a new Call of Duty game. This is basically kind of a see you later Call of Duty kind of video, but at the same moment reminiscing about the good moments that I had with it. Other than that, everyone, thank you very, very much for watching, enjoying yourself and tuning in. Not tuning in. This isn't a live event. But thank you everyone for watching. Uh, this video is really, really long, but it comes from the heart. It comes from years of experience with this franchise, and my disappointments, my love, my rough love for the franchise. Other than that, I'll see you on the next video or the next stream. Take care. Ooh, is there anything that I want to add to that? Yeah, as I said, the next video is probably going to be my different, I would say, what would I say? Phases in games. Like, for 2 years, I would only play FPSs. For 2 years, I would only play platformers. Stuff like that, different phases. Other than that, thank you everyone for watching. As I said on the last stream, the next game I will be streaming is GTA Vice City. I've said this before on my channel update. If I cannot do a stream, I'll be doing one of these kinds of videos. The next time I will try to implement more of a story, one of those California stories, because I really want to tell a lot of them. Anyways, thank you everyone for tuning in. And not tuning in. Why do I keep saying that? For watching. It was nice. Take care. See you later.